Look, I opened this jar of rotten baby food, and well, a butterfly came out.
Welcome to the Comedians and Elevators podcast. I've got my guest, Ty Ballion. Ty, say hi, introduce yourself, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Howdy, everybody. My name is, like you said, Ty Ballion. I'm from a little town called Taylorville. It's in the Midwest in the state of Illinois. Nothing but cornfields. I've been acting for a couple of years now. I've been on a PBS documentary that was funded by the Russo brothers. It's called Potentially Dangerous. It actually won a bunch of awards for the film being made. So it got me on Google, and I'm on IMDb. So other than that, I'm just currently seeking representation. So
very cool. Very cool. Well, shall we get started?
yes, we can.
All right. So the whole point of the podcast is to compare and contrast the comic versus the comedian. So I define the comic as any person telling funny jokes versus the comedian who's a funny person telling any jokes. And a lot of people would agree that you start as a comic and you evolve into a comedian. Would you agree with that, Ty?
I could definitely agree with that. Yeah.
All right. So let's start with the first question. So it's about the role of persona in comedy. So how much of the comedian's voice is a character versus the real self?
For a comedian, I feel like most of it's them just being themselves. It's the way that they display themselves, because you can be naturally funny. I feel like for most comedians, you know, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So would you say that authenticity matters, or is magic or is illusion part of the magic?
Authenticity, I had to feel like plays a big part. If you can pull off that illusion, that makes it that 10 times better. But I feel like a lot of the people I feel like are funny, they're just authentically funny. It comes naturally to them, you know. They'd be telling a story about their life, and it's just, you know, something stupid or funny enough to make you laugh.
So
But
where's the illusion then? So who's 10 times better by using illusion? Can you name someone?
hmm, I can't off the top of my head, no, because I can't picture with illusion. You know, it's not really something I'm good with myself. Myself, I'm more naturally authentic.
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So the idea is to is there a sweet spot, right? So, well, let's throw it to the next question. So punching up versus punching down. So where do comics versus comedians stand on this? Let me put it in historical context. Did a jealous medieval prince become the first comedian by killing the court jester?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you imagine back then, like what that scenario could have entailed? I mean, is that punching up or punching down?
I feel like that's definitely punching up.
For the prince to kill the court jester?
Yeah.
Okay. How so? Why not punching down?
Well, I feel like you're punching up because you're making a move. You know, you're doing it's emotive. You're making, I don't know, statement. I feel like so you're going
Okay.
up on that. But I mean, I guess it's however the person takes it.
Well, they took it dead, so that's they definitely killed it on that one. I mean, his first joke was
They, they
definitely
could have been
definitely a
looking down for
killer.
them then.
Yeah. Hey, that's the point to compare. So is the audience agreement with the comedian a form of permission or alignment?
What do you mean by that?
Well, is so are we agreeing with what the comedian's saying just to do it, or are we allowing him to do it?
I think we're more or less allowing him to do it as a spectator.
Okay. So there's no kind of like, hey, we want to, the comedian doesn't try to adjust to the audience in ever or sometimes.
Most of the ones I've seen, I never really seen him connect with the audience too much. I guess on TV, talking film
Mhm.
wise, um, I guess it depends. I was on a cruise ship once, and I definitely got called out in the crowd by a comedian, and I got roasted. He
Okay.
connected with me. He connected
I
with me.
see. Were you in the front rows in
Yes,
the splash
yes, I
zone?
was with my two
Ah,
friends.
there you go. So you get the splash zone. That's kind of what causes that. All right.
Yeah.
So, cultural translation of comedy. How do jokes work in one country, bomb in another?
Well, it depends on the context of the joke, I guess.
Well, you're on a cruise ship, so you're like not in a country at that point, right?
Yeah, but like everybody was like American for the most part in the crowd, as well as the comedian. So
So
I
not a
don't know.
chance, right? Doesn't
Nah,
doesn't get that cultural bombing in another country. All right. So
no,
then
not really.
sure, would you say that the comic is more universal while the comedian is more culturally specific?
I'd have to agree with that. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, so crowd work versus crafted work. If comics riff like influencers and comedians perform like in reaction videos, where is the sweet spot?
I guess it lands wherever they make the joke at. Like for comedians, I don't know. Tell me that one more time.
Well,
Talking
that's a
about the
tough one.
sweet
So
spot.
the sweet spot. So yeah, I would argue the comics riff, they do more crowd work, and comedians perform, they do more crafted work. So is there a sweet spot between the two?
If there is, I wouldn't know it.
Okay. Fair
I'm
enough. Fair
sorry.
enough. Sure. Well, what happens when a comic leans too much into crowd work or when a comedian gets heckled?
That could end pretty badly. I feel like I've seen some videos like that, which could be entertaining as well, but maybe not
Right.
in the right terms.
Absolutely. Okay. Advertising and self promotion. Who advertises themselves more, a comic or comedian? You know that place where you're not conscious and you're not sleeping either? That's your power bill to the electric company. Right here. I want us to be here with free energy, where the Wardenclyffe Tower meets the Eiffel Tower. But that's not where we are. We are here, where you've got the utility and you've got residential solar. Between these two, we know which one saves you money. This is where we can go in the meantime. But this is where I want us to be now, and this can be done now. So let me deputize you to represent DOSE, Department of Solar Efficiency, and let's get on the podcast to get the message out today. See you soon.
A comedian, 100 times. Comedian.
Okay. How so?
Um, well, it's very rarely I see a comic. I do see comics advertise themselves. Very rarely, maybe. Comedians, I see a lot everywhere. It's just a lot more advertisements. I feel like, for me at least, where I'm at,
Well, what kind of advertising?
from TV to commercials to even on my Facebook feed to people
Okay.
playing in Chicago. I live near Chicago, like 4 or 3 hours away from Chicago. So
Mhm.
I get a lot of advertisements for people up there, like in Second City and places like that.
Okay. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yes.
So would you see self promotion as, could it be seen as selling out or is it necessary for survival?
I would not see it selling out at all. No, I'd see it as necessary for survival because look at the big famous comedians today. There are a lot of the promotions I see. So
Okay.
it's
Absolutely.
just the way they do work. It's just the way people in that line of work, they have to do some stuff like that sometimes.
Okay. So censorship and offense. Does a comic avoid offense while a comedian courts it to prove a point?
I feel like a comic could probably go there. Maybe I feel like a comic would maybe. Um, I couldn't think of an instance where it did, but
Okay. So it's a
I feel like
potential.
it'd be
So who,
rare. But I feel like it'd be rare. But I feel like it could happen.
all right. So who survives better in a cancel culture environment?
Put me on that. That's a hard one. Hold on. Comedians, comedians, just
Okay.
because I think they get a bigger rep. They get a bigger rep, so they have that, that base, the baseline of fans and stuff.
You said rep, like in repetition?
Yes, reputation.
Oh, reputation.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, and repetition as well. Repetition as well.
Yeah.
Both, both. Yeah.
It's the R word. All right. So, timing and delivery, is it a science or an art? So, do comics rely more on structure and comedians more on rhythm and emotion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to agree with that.
So is it a science or an art?
Definitely an art. Definitely an art. 100 times an art.
No science?
There can be science behind what you do, but it's an art in all of itself. But there's probably some science in there. There's some science in
Okay.
there.
Some repetition. So laughter versus applause. Are comics chasing laughs and comedians chasing applause breaks that validate the message?
Nah, I feel like comedians are looking for laughter. I feel like comedians are looking for laughter a lot. They want to make people laugh, no matter if
Hmm.
the joke is exotic or not.
Exotic.
Comics,
How?
yeah,
What's an example of an exotic? How so? Is that
like
not
a,
even
like
a
a
Joker?
cultural joke or something that might be a little risky.
Okay.
Um, but then comics, I feel like comics are looking for applause, though. I feel like they're just looking for some validation as well as laughter. So I
So
don't know. That's
comics, yeah, I mean, so you're saying comics would they want you're saying the applause is a validation that's a totally different kind than laughter?
yes, most definitely. And
Is it
if you get both,
higher?
that's crazy. If you get both, that's just really good at the
Yeah,
same time.
at the same time. Different people though. Or are they laughing and clapping at the same time? Which is sounds
Yes.
like you're going to get hiccups if you do that too often.
Yeah, probably.
So so comedy is commentary. When does a comedian cross into being a philosopher or a preacher?
When they get too far into one subject, for sure. Or if, something that they might take personal themselves, that might sound different coming out to the crowd. That could display
Mhm.
differently than they thought in their heads because they're so into that subject.
Okay.
That could, yeah.
So is that good or does it dilute the humor?
It could be good depending on what it is. I feel like oftentimes it would not. I feel like it wouldn't dilute as well.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, comedy and vulnerability. I would argue that comics hide behind their jokes and comedians expose themselves. If you agree, which one is braver?
Comedians. And I do agree. I do agree. And it's comedians.
Have you seen a comic hide behind their jokes?
Not in particular, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Last question. Legacy. Who gets remembered? Will the comic's tight five survive time, or will the comedian's cultural point of view be more timeless?
In my personal opinion, I
Mhm.
think the comedian's timeline will last longer just because that's what I see more. That's what I watch more. I'm not saying that's what I'm into more. I mean, I guess it is. It is. Never mind. I just lied to you. I'm sorry. But
You
it's
lied to
just,
me
that's
because you
just,
actually agree with your point.
yes.
Okay.
So that's just what I think. I love watching comedians more. I think it's a lot more funnier. I love the different kind of comedians. They have different kind of commentary. Comics, I like them too. I will watch comics, but for me personally, it's the comedian's timeline lasting longer.
All right. All right. Well, Ty, thank you so much for being my guest. Where can everybody find you online?
Well, I will be on IMDb. I am on Google at literally Ty Ballion, as the name says right there.
Mhm.
If it has all my links on that Google page as well. It has my Facebook, my Instagram. I think it has my Snapchat. It has a lot of it on there. You can find everything.
All right. Very cool. And everyone watching, please like and subscribe, and we will see
Yes.
you in the next one.